I have analyzed the DJI Air 2S in many specific aspects and I was really impressed by its performance in every department. If you're interested in my other videos about this model, you will find a link in the description below. This excellent drone has an array of zoom capabilities. In this video I will analyze in depth all the different zoom modes to find out if there is some loss of quality in the process. The original Mavic Air 2 had some zoom functionalities added by a firmware upgrade, but since the Air 2S so far seems to be able to do everything extremely well, let's see if we can get better results. If you're interested in drone, I would strongly suggest subscribing to my channel. Plenty of interesting stuff going on here. And if you find this video interesting, let me know by hitting the like button. It helps me to know your opinion to choose my upcoming videos. The Air 2S is the only DJI prosumer drone able to shoot footage at 5.4K resolution, and it is a very important feature. From time to time I hear people asking, what is the point of such high resolution if most screen cannot even display it? Well, the main point of shooting at 5.4K is to be able to apply the good amount of zoom in post-production, even when encoding in 4K, without any loss of quality, since we are starting with a much higher resolution. As you can see here, at 150% zoom, there is no noticeable loss in quality when encoding in 4K. At 200% zoom, we start to see the slightest loss of resolution, but it is barely noticeable even on a big 4K screen. Of course, for users encoding in 1080p, starting with a 5.4 file leaves a huge room for zooming. Also, we don't have to plan zooming while shooting, but we can calmly analyze our footage in front of our trusty computer and decide that a specific shot would benefit from reframing, cropping, or progressively zooming in or out. We can also apply a bit of extra panning while zooming, if we so wish. In this case, we can mimic the effect of a coarse lock, like flying forward and sideways while keeping the camera locked to the subject. As you can see, this way we can get a very nice parallax effect. The ability to shoot in 5.4 resolution opens up new territories for creativity. This is why it is such a powerful tool. I was not expecting such a major upgrade in the Air 2S, but I thought that the increased resolution would come with a future version of the Mavic 2 Pro. Shooting in 4K is also the only way to apply zoom while shooting in one of the two 10-bit modes, D-Log or HLG, since the other zoom modes only work in the 8-bit normal mode. The zoom levels available vary according to the resolution and the frame rate. It is possible to apply a 4 times zoom at 4K at the maximum of 30 frames per second, a 6 times zoom at 2.7 up to 30 frames per second, 4 times at 2.7 at 60 frames per second, 6 times at 1080p at 60 frames per second, and a whopping 8 times at 1080p up to 30 frames per second. To use the supplied zoom, make sure that you are in normal color mode and in resolution different from 5.4K. An icon with a circle containing the zoom factor will appear next to the shutter. Just tap on the icon to move to the next zoom level. It is possible to zoom in or out progressively by swiping up and down on the icon. Another possibility for smoother results is to use the scroll wheel in the remote control, while holding the FN button. Restart with a resolution of 4K at 24 frames per second, with a zoom factor of 2 times. I will compare it to applying the zoom digitally in post-production to the same footage. I also shot some footage of the same scene at closer distance, so that I can compare the zoomed-in image with another one of the same size without any zoom. I'm using static shots to better appreciate the difference in resolution. Here is a side-to-side comparison of the 2x zoom of the Air 2S against the original footage taken from the same distance and zoomed in post-processing. I don't know how much you can appreciate the difference according to your screen, but in my big 4K screen, the image to the left is much sharper. The difference is evident in the trees, in the buildings, in the foreground, and in the seaside town in the background. Notice also how both clips are noise-free, which is remarkable. Now let's check if there is any loss of quality compared to the same scene shot without zoom by simply bringing the drone closer. If we put them side to side, it is very hard to find any noticeable difference between the two. The amount in detail in the building and in the trees looks very similar to me. Let's now have a look at the image taken at 4K with a zoom factor of 4 times. I must admit that it looks much better than I was expecting. There is still a decent amount of detail in the element in the foreground, although the town by the sea in the background is a bit soft now, and once again absolutely no noise at all. I'm not sure I would consider the footage usable, but still the performance is excellent at such a deep zoom level. If we put the images side by side with the one zoomed in digitally on the computer, the difference in quality is huge. The zoom in the Air 2S is certainly not a simple digital zoom, as he managed to achieve a quality close to images at full size, which is sensational. Most of the zoom functions of the Air 2S are also available with the different intelligent flight modes, which opens up plenty of room for creativity, as I will show you very soon in a dedicated video. This is the image at 1080 in full size. At 2x zoom, the image is still excellent. Even in my big 4K screen, I can detect only a tiny bit of softness. At 4 times, again the result is stunning, although, as I said before, there is no real reason to use it, as much better results are obtaining starting with higher resolution. At a zoom factor of 8 times, obviously the image falls apart. But in my opinion there is a use for this deep zoom at 1080 to inspect a new location and discover the most interesting spots, either for shooting video or for photography. In my case, I often keep an eye on Mount Etna, as quite often something exciting happens. By using the deep zoom I can check its mood. Today Mount Etna is enjoying a quiet smoke. Maybe time for a quick time lapse. Click on this link to see my other videos about all the different aspects of this sensational drone. And give me a big thumb up if you enjoyed this video. See you soon and take care.